Hello, everyone. Welcome to Progress Junior Golf with Live Sport Now and the England Golf Young Ambassadors. My name's Steve Jackson, and this is Ian Waterhouse.
Steve, it's great to see you again. How have you been, my friend? Have you been well?
Not too bad, yes. I'd like to say the weather's improving, but then the last couple of days has been pretty horrible, hasn't it? But at least
Yeah.
we've had some golf, so yes. So it's been pretty good.
We've had some good days, we've had some bad days, but as you said, the important thing is we've had quite a bit of golf, of course. Junior golf, we've had major golf, we've had live golf, you name it. We are right into the thick of things at the minute, Steve, and I love it.
And you've had a haircut, but as well, by the looks of it as well.
I've had a haircut, yeah. I've got to be honest, a little bit disappointed. I was in South Wales last week, down at Pembrey, and I was doing motorsport over there. So I needed a bit of a trim, and the barber just took a little bit more off the top than I would like. However, the only thing I will say is that it's very manageable right now. So it's probably better.
Right. Now, this podcast is all about junior golf. It's about the next generation of golf. It's about getting more boys and girls playing the game of golf. This is show number... What show number is it, Ian?
50. Is that right? 8.
58 shows. So we're getting close to that magic.
That's right, isn't it?
Yes, it is correct.
Yeah.
Well done. Yes, you've been counting up very well. So we're getting close to that magic 59 number, which is the number everyone wants to try and shoot in golf, of course. For me, on the front 9, that's the target. 59.
Yeah.
But we've got 58 at the moment. We'll be happy with the 58 on the front 9. Right. Now, we cover a different subject each week if you've not watched this podcast before. This week, we're covering volunteering in junior golf.
Yeah.
As you well know, Ian, thousands of volunteers in golf, full stop, and quite a lot of them involved in junior golf as well. So we're going to look in more detail with the help of England Golf Volunteer of the Year, Abi Frodsham. She won the award up in Manchester. I think it was back in March. She won that award. So fantastic to get an award winner on the show as well. And we've got another junior golfer as well called Louis Fitzgerald. Now, Louis is going out to Borneo in a few weeks' time to help the communities out there. And although it's not necessarily a golfing story as such, because he's going out there as part of the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, he is using the golf industry to try and raise some funds to help him get out there to help the kids and the families out there. Easy. So we've got pre-recorded interviews with both Abi and Louis as well. And we've also got 2 people live on the show, Ian, who are volunteers in junior golf. They do it on a regular basis. They do it about 58 times they've done it, haven't they, Ian?
Yeah, I can't wonder who you could possibly mean, but absolutely, Steve. Yes, this podcast that we bring you, we do it in our own time. I've got to be honest, Steve does most of the work, to be honest. But, Steve does most of the work, but we do it in our own time. We've got partners, of course, England Golf, the Golf Foundation, which is fantastic. But of course, we don't receive a penny at all for doing this. We do it for the love of the game, which is what being a volunteer is, isn't it? Really, a lot of the time.
Absolutely. So we'll have, in a weird way, we'll have our opinions on what it means to be a volunteer within the game of golf as well. Right, we are going to get on with the news very shortly, but just give anyone watching details of how you can get involved in the show, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. A few of you tuning in already, which is nice to see. Hello, good evening, everybody. If you do want to get involved with us, you can. We do want to hear from you. This is an interactive show. It's your show, so please do get in touch with us. A couple of ways you can do it. There's a link in the body of this broadcast which says live chat is open. Click that link. It takes you straight through to the Live Sport Now YouTube channel where you can watch this and comment in the live chat section. The reason that's the best place to do it, because if you do it there, we can show your comments on the screen just so long as you keep them clean. There is a QR code just there as well. You can scan that. Again, it will take you straight through to the Live Sport Now YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe as well if you're watching there, or head over there so you can watch live golf Trilby Tour coming up next month as well. And at any point, if you do want to find out more about Progress Junior Golf, you can. The website's running across the bottom just down there. So you can type that out, www.progressjuniorgolf.com. Or again, just above where the link for the live chat in the text of this. So if you're on YouTube, it's in the text. If you're on Facebook, it's in the text. If you're on Twitch, LinkedIn, it's all in the text. The link takes you straight through to Steve's website. Do check it out at some point. I really do employ it as a gold mine of information. If you're looking for a junior tournament or an event or anything that's happening in junior golf, there is no place anywhere else in the world, certainly for the UK and Ireland anyway, that you need to visit. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up Stephen Derriere. It really is fantastic. Nobody else has put. And again, Steve, a bit like this podcast, you don't receive any money for that, do you? You've done it all off your own back. So
if I told you that there were 1,500 competitions on that website, and I had to physically put every single one of them in there, the date, the venue, and everything, and you're right, no one's paid me a penny to do that kind of thing. So it's out there for people.
Volunteer of the Year award.
Yeah, perhaps. We'll leave that this year. Right. First things first, though. Let's do the junior golf news then. Starting off, then we'll start off with the competition, which is an adult competition actually, but it was won by a junior golfer, the Critchley Salver. So where do they play the Critchley Salver, Ian?
Sunningdale.
Sunningdale, exactly. So played on the old course and the new course there, and it was won by Annabelle Peaford. Now, that's only half the story, because if I told you she started her first round, this was played on the new course, started off with a bogey on the first hole, and then parred the next 4 holes. So not the greatest of starts. Then she went on a bit of a mad spree. 8 birdies and 1 eagle on the 18th hole in the next 13 holes to set a new course record on the new course of 66. So not bad going. And then going into the afternoon round, then which then switches to the old course. So therefore, she's just gone the previous 10 under par for the previous 13 holes. She starts off birdie, birdie, birdie. So for a 16-hole stretch, she was 13 under par.
Do you know what, Steve? That's incredible. But doesn't that teach you something, right? The last podcast we did was on like psychology, wasn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Now, most very good golfers, shall we say, if they'd had like a bit of a bogey or a pass start, they'd be like, okay, it's all right, but I've got no chance of shooting a mad score. If I can get under par, 1 or 2 under par, then it's a good round. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that stay in the game. A bad start or a slow start doesn't mean it's over, doesn't mean you still can't go low, doesn't mean you still can't set course record, but it's all up here.
Absolutely. I think she only actually, believe it or not, won the tournament by about 2 shots in the end. So
that's slow start.
He played that slow start. Yeah, and actually, in a weird. Actually, by the way, after those first 3 birdies, she went par birdie. Then, so she was 4 under par on 6 after 6 holes in the second round. Obviously, a few bogeys, coming home. I think she might have even birdied the last hole as well, just to make sure, kind of thing. But I memean, what a round of golf there! And it's someone who was mentioned on a few occasions. Annabelle Peaford, a sister Emily as well. I think he may be a twin sister, 16-year-old. So certainly one to watch out for there. Right. Same with men's golf then, but once again with juniors. The Douglas Men's Senior Scratch Cup. This took place over in Ireland. This was won by Mark Gazzi, 72. So talking about the other way around, 72 with his first round. I think he was 5 shots off the pace, and then shot a 65 in his second round to win the tournament. So well done to him. The Berkshire Trophy. This is a competition whereby, have you ever been to the Berkshire? Yeah,
I played the Berkshire.
Played the Berkshire, so have I. And actually, this is a competition which one of my friends has won. Ryan Evans won a few years ago, a tour pro now. This year, though, it was won by Freddie Turner, junior golfer. So well done to Freddie. Now, another one which is an adult competition, but once again won by junior. It's actually 2 competitions. It was the S&A Bowl, which was won by Daniel Hayes from Bramwell. He shot a 69 and then the 69, so won on 6 under par. But he also won the Lancashire Links Trophy, which is a combined competition of the Formby Hare, which takes place on the first day, and then the S&B Bowl on the second day. So on the back of him winning on the second day, he also won that second competition as well. Right. Back over to Ireland then. I think we've got a photo of the winner here. The Flogash Irish Girls Amateur Open Championship was won by Sadie Adams, English golfer. She was mentioned in the last podcast as well, Ian, if you remember, because she won the Fairhaven trophies a few weeks ago as well. So she's certainly a golfer in form. And from a photography point of view, Ian, I've got to say that is one of the most fantastic car parks you can see at a golf course, isn't it? I mean, who on earth thought put some sponsorship boards in front of the car park and put a trophy? Anyway, there you go. That's me having my little rant for the day. So
Flogas car park. Well done, Flogas.
Yes. Yeah. Well done to Flogas, because actually, to be fair to Flogas, they do a lot of work with junior golf. I know that they sponsor the Irish Junior Open Tour So they do a lot of good work with junior golf over in Ireland. So well done for them for sponsoring that event, and well done for Sadie for winning that competition as well. Right, north of the border then, Junior Tour Scotland. There was a couple of events which took place in recent weeks. The first one took place at Forfar Golf Club. The winner of the boys' competition was Joe McPherson. The girls' competition was Ruby Watt. And then a couple of weeks later, just a week later, another event at Edsall Golf Club. Boys' winner there was Aidan Lawson, and the girls' winner was Sabrina Wong. Another event up in Scotland, someone which has been mentioned on the podcast on regular basis and actually has been on the podcast, the Stephen Gallagher Foundation Trophy that took place at Blair Gallery Golf Club. Once again, boys and girls competition. Boys winner was James Woods, and the girls winner was Evie McCallum. Back down this end then, and it was the Fowler Series Elite Tour, took place at Kedleston Park. Once again, got a photo of the winner of this one. This was Elliot Thomas who won the competition. He's from Stoneham Golf Club. If you're not aware of how the Elite Tour works, then basically they have a junior tour, which is generally for under 18s, under 21s, and under 16s. And then they have a tour which is slightly older, goes up to the underage of 21. But as you can see with Elliot there, one of the younger players who played in the competition, 78 in the first round. There was a few shots off the pace actually going into the second round. And it really came down to the last two holes. He was one shot behind Eva Myers with a couple of holes to play. But Elliot birdied the last two holes, and Eva dropped a couple of shots on the last hole. So in the end, it was a 3-shot swing. But
that
Elliot,
jumper says it all, doesn't it, Steve?
He was the boss. Absolutely. That was it.
Well done, Elliot.
He was the boss that day. Yes. So well done to him. Also, I mentioned as well for the Fowler Series, they've got their Futures Tour, which that's the even younger one. That's under 12s competition. They've had a lot of local competitions which have been taking place right the way up until around about now, and it's the first time they've done it this well. They did it a little bit the last couple of years, but they tended to just do one-off events. But they've really gone out of their way. Spoke to Matthew about this, Matthew Fowler, who's Sinik's son, about this the other day. And he was a little wary about how this was going to go. But I tell you what, it's been really, really successful. Lots of different competitions around the country. And they've got the regional finals coming up next week. I know there's going to be one at the Warwickshire. I'm going to be there. And there's a few which are taking place around the country as well. Big fields taking place in that. So anyone who is playing in those competitions, then best of luck. And of course, those ones at the Warwickshire, make sure that you stand in a really good spot in front of the car park, so I can get a lovely photo of the car park in the background for you there. So
I just want to know, we compare pictures and see how many of the same cars are still there.
That's it, yes. Right, just one final thing as well. The Ladies European Tour took place, had an event in Germany this last weekend, and I was watching the final round on the Sunday, and it came down to a playoff, and Emma Spitz, who's been on the show before, a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, whatever.
She was in the playoff, and she did really well because she birdied the first playoff hole, but so did her playing partner. And then her playing partner as well birdied the second playoff as well. So Emma just missed out on her first victory on the Ladies European Tour. But I got a feeling it's not going to be very long before she does win on the tour.
Coming,
so well
Emma. Coming. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, so well done to her. Right, that wraps up the junior golf news then. We're going to be talking volunteering then now on the Progress Junior Golf podcast, because it's a big subject, isn't it? Because there are so many people who do it within golf. And, we mentioned a little earlier the fact that they had an England Golf Awards. They actually had a Young Volunteer of the Year award, and they also had a Volunteer of the Year award. And earlier this week, I had a chat with Abi Frodsham, who won that award. We'll go into a few more details of what she did, but let's just go back to that week or that night and find out exactly what happened. This is what Abi's recollection of the evening when she picked up the Volunteer of the Year award.
Manchester, early evening sort of thing. I knew that I was like in the top 3 chosen, but I didn't know I was actually going to win. So when we kind of went, we had a lovely dinner. It was great to chat and mingle with lots of people. I love like interacting and networking, so it's my favorite place to be fair. So we did a lot of that, and then obviously they go through the awards throughout the night, and it's great to hear like other people's perspectives and what they're doing and achieving, because there's so many people in golf doing amazing things. But yeah, so we got announced that I'd obviously won, So we managed to get up on stage, met by Nick Doherty, which was really cool as well. So got to meet him. He then passed me on to, I think it was the England chairman, maybe. I think he gave me the award, because it's the only one that's actually awarded by England Golf, because all the others are sponsored. So that was really cool. And got a little speech, had to answer some questions, which was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I've no idea what I said, but apparently it sounded good, so I'll take that. But yeah, it was really fun. And then we were whisked off to go and get some other interviews, and make some videos and social media things. But all I wanted really was my cheesecake, so I was a bit gutted and missed off my dessert, but came back. So my partner sat there waiting, guarding my cheesecake so that no one would take it. But yeah, so that was really funny. But it was a really fun night. Got to meet loads of other people and friends as well.
Just explain what they said to you, why you were nominated in the first place.
Yeah, so why I was nominated from people at the Golf Foundation. So I was working alongside the Northwest Regional Manager, Gav Forsyth. So he's like the regional officer for the Golf Foundation. So I was working alongside him and a couple of other people on the Wirral in the Road to the Open. So it's all volunteer work. Although I say it's work, it's volunteer. But yeah, so I was supporting him in leading the program. So we went into 9 schools in 7 days, and we delivered golf to as many people as we could. So most of them, it was like the first time they've ever seen golf. We'd done it in a school. So we did it inside the school setting, so like in a sports hall. So we delivered golf to over 280 young people. So that was really cool, but very hectic, as you can imagine. So yeah, it was a really great experience. And then I also do a lot of support with the Girls Golf Rocks program, that's run by the Golf Foundation and England Golf jointly. So I lead that at our golf club, which I really enjoy doing, because it's just getting other girls who have never played golf before into golf. So they do like a 6-week program. So I help deliver on that, and do some coaching support on the side of that. And we did a follow-on session and took them to the Open, took 3 groups to the Open at Royal Liverpool, which was really cool to see their experience. So we did that. And yeah, lots of other bits and pieces with our junior section as well. So yeah, I'm always doing something golf-wise, and yeah, never really stop.
So that's Abby talking about when she picked up an award for the England Golf Volunteer of the Year. What you have to say though, I mean, it's a bit cruel on her to take her away from a cheesecake, wasn't it?
You couldn't take me away from cheesecake, Steve. You know, yeah. But it was waiting there when she got back, so that was okay.
That's it. Yes. Got someone looking after it for her, so well done to her. Now, I mean, obviously it's great the fact that she got the award and things like that, but obviously we are going to go into a little bit more detail, the incentives and why you want to get volunteering and things like that. But in some respects, it's kind of irrelevant, the fact that she got the award, though, isn't it? Because that's not the reason why people do it, is it?
No, but it's nice to know that you can be appreciated for doing nice things, isn't it? You know, I always think volunteers are, if you look at all sports, Steve, you know, volunteers essentially the lifeblood of any sport. You know, golf in particular, motorsport's another one with marshals. You know, they're not paid. Marshals don't get paid. The guys you see around Formula One circuits and bits of bobs in the orange overalls who are first on scene to respond if there's an accident, they're not paid. They're volunteers. Same in, you know, with a lot of events that we've done in golf that you and me have done together, Steve, in golf. People who ball spotters or, you know, gone to get scorecards at halfway huts and things like that. They're all volunteers. You know, the rules officials that we've worked with before, they've been all volunteers. They're doing it off their own back for the love of the game. And of course, you know, they don't do it for the awards. You know, Abby didn't do this. She didn't volunteer because she thought, I might get an award if I do it. She did it this is just a nice extra little thing, isn't it? It's a bonus thing. And not only did she get an award, she got a nice cheesecake. So everybody wins that way, don't they? I mean, essentially volunteering is a great way to get free labour, isn't it? Really. But by taking advantage of something that we're passionate about and we love, but equally it's also a way for us to be involved in something that perhaps there aren't routes that we can get involved in it. It's not many people have the good fortune of being paid to work in sport. So if you love sport and you're passionate about it and you've got time, and this is the thing, if you've got time to do it, then definitely get involved.
Right, let's hear about how Abi then. How did she first get involved in volunteering in junior golf? This is what she had to say.
Out with the Girls Golf Rocks program, so I've been supported by England Golf actually to get in touch and kind of be bold. We did the girls leadership program with England Golf, so that was really good experience and kind of drove me to want to give back to the game more, and felt like I had the ability, and like they'd give me kind of a lot of support to feel confident in knowing what I'm doing and how to kind of do it. So if I had any questions or problems along the way, they were kind of there to support. So as a 16, 17-year-old, it was hard originally to get into the golf club because they didn't want to do the programs. But eventually, after some persuasion and it really explaining what the program was about was the hardest bit. And then once I was kind of in the door, then it became a lot easier, and there is a lot of support at the golf club, and everyone wants to see the game grow. So it was easy sort of from then on to kind of help people to see what we're doing. Obviously you always get the odd person who is going to question you, but you just got to be firm in what you're answering and believe in yourself. That was the hard bit as well, trying to see, like, is it worth my time doing this, or am I like just going nowhere with it? But then once you see it starting and you see the girls actually arrive on the session, you think, I've put all this work into it and they're now here, and they're enjoying it and learning the game that I love. And then at the end, they're all wanting to continue or have learned some new golf skills. That's where the like self-reward kind of comes, that actually you get to see other people experience what you've experienced, which is my drive really to keep it going. So yeah.
So what came first with you then? Where did you go, actually I'd like to help out here, I'd like to volunteer, I'd like to give something back?
Yeah, so I think originally it came from me having had it myself. So I started playing golf because of a Get Into Golf program that was being run with a link with my school. And had I not actually had that opportunity to go to the driving range once a week and miss a bit of my lunchtime and a bit of the afternoon lesson, that I probably never would have started golf. Well, I definitely wouldn't have started golf. I was that typical stereotypical person saying, oh, golf's an old man's game and this isn't for me. I already played other sports, so my time was already filled. So I just thought, oh, it's just something to do and get out of a lesson, why not? But then I actually started to fall in love with the game, and it drove me to keep going. And then I just wanted to give back because I knew what it had given me, and the opportunities that I had, and going into college. And I really loved my sport, so it gave me a new opportunity and a new sport to love that I wouldn't have known before. And it gave me something to kind of look forward to at the weekends and in the evenings. I felt like I was achieving, whether I was achieving or not in school, but actually then when I came home, that I felt like I had a purpose to live out come my evenings and weekends. That's why I really enjoyed it.
I was going to say that the word which comes into my head is you had to have confidence even to do that in the first place, but also you must have gained a lot of confidence by doing it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think after the first one was over, I was like, wow, we did it. It went well. And people would give us feedback and saying, oh, that's really good. Like, really glad that we can do this at our golf club. And in this area and see the success, and then you start seeing the juniors staying on. And we had like 2 new members after our first 6 weeks, that actually you could see the fruitfulness coming from it, and that then gave me more confidence to be like, oh, we could do this again, like it wasn't that hard. But then you realize, oh, when it gets a bit tough and there's, you know, these people aren't replying to the emails, or you've got lots of different things going on in the background, had exams to study for and stuff, that actually that was like tough, but it gave me more confidence to know actually how it had gone, drove me to do more, if that makes sense.
I think the amazing thing about not just Abi as well, but also the Louis, who we're going to hear from a little bit later on, is the fact that we're talking about volunteers here, but this is youngsters going into adult environments, and that takes some, you know, for want of a better phrase, that takes some balls. That takes a lot of confidence to go in there and do it, you know, as someone who is this young, doesn't it?
It does, and it's so progressive. You know, I think when I don't know how old Abi is, and it's not really any of my business, but certainly when I was her age, the last thing I would have thought about doing was going to volunteer at my golf club. Even though I loved sport at the time, but it's a very mature thing to do as well, isn't it? Like, it's a really, the benefits longer term as well. Things like putting it on your CV when you're trying to make a career and things like that. It all adds up, and it all shows a good level of maturity. I think it's. I wish I'd had the foresight to do something like that when I was that age. I generally do, Steve. You know, if I could go back now, I think, you know, I wish I could do that. I was just, I won't say what I was getting up to at that age, but you know,
involves some alcohol.
well, yeah, pretty much. But I have so much respect, because I think, you know, what a great thing to do. And she was talking about a purpose, you know, sort of finishing school and then having a real sense of purpose for something, and it's like you become part of something, don't it? It's like when you support a football team, you know, you become part of that tribe, or you become part of that group, and it's the same with that. You know, you get involved with volunteering and you make new friends, and it's very easy stuff to say, isn't it? I'll do it because we make new friends. Well, you can make new friends in a supermarket. You know, it takes real guts and gusto and confidence to think, no, I'm going to go volunteer and be responsible for something. So yeah, good on anybody who does it.
Let's hear from Abi as well, the kind of reaction she got when she first went in and started volunteering as well, and in particular the reaction she had from adults. This is what she had to say.
Which I was surprised by, because I thought people would be more critical of saying, oh, you should be doing this, or you can't do it now, you've got to do it then, or you're not old enough, and things like that. But actually, people were wanting to support and offering their help as well, and wanting to volunteer themselves. So the feedback, I think the first few feedbacks I got was from the actual parents and the participants themselves, like saying how much they enjoyed it, and that they want to carry it on, and this is what they've been looking for. And then it just showed me that there was a need there, that people wanted to play golf, but they didn't know how to start or where to start, and then they'd seen the opportunity come up, and that's what drove them to get started in the first place. So that was really positive, and felt like I was doing the right thing. And then people from the golf club could see, you know, the girls coming down every Saturday morning and the Sunday afternoons, and they were surprised as to how many girls there were, I think, at first, and they were like, wow, you've got quite a big group. I'm like, yeah, well, that was the goal. These are going to be your future members, so that's, you know, we're going to grow the game, hopefully. That's the goal. That's why we're here. And I think as soon as they started seeing the results, the more positive the feedback became, and it wasn't as much questioning as to why we're doing what we're doing, but actually they wanted to support and volunteer their own time as well, and were saying, oh, this looks really good, how can I help, was the next question. So it was really cool to see that kind of shift in mindsets as well.
How important do you think it was, the fact that it was another junior there who was helping out doing the volunteering, both from the other juniors' point of view, and the fact that they could relate to someone who, you know, just been through that, and not just been through that, you know, like myself, you know, 15, 20, 30 years earlier, but literally probably 1, 2, 3 years earlier. So they could relate more to you than perhaps they could an adult.
Yeah, I think I found like I built quicker relationships with the participants because I was like, oh, I did this 2 years ago. Like that was me hitting a duff shot off the tee or not able to chip the ball, but look where I am now, kind of thing. So I was able to support them and drive them in that way as well. And I think it was more relatable. So we made it was more relatable to be as well a female young person, other than like the PGA pro who was maybe 40, 50 years older than us, that actually they were able to bounce off me and we were able to create more of a like friendship as well. So it was nice to be able to say, oh, I know this person at your school, and you get to develop other friendships at the same time, which was really cool. And also they're your future players who are going to be playing alongside you, and some of them I do play alongside still now, who have stayed in the game. So it's really cool to like build friendships, and I think maybe as like an adult to a junior you wouldn't do that, but junior to a junior you can develop that friendship easier, and they can see you and are inspired by you as well, because you're like on a similar path in life, or like you're just ahead of them, so they can see like, well, this is what you've done and this is where you're going, and how did you manage that with schoolwork and stuff like that. But yeah, so I think we were able to support each other in it.
The word you use there, which I think is appropriate, is their inspiration, and you're inspiring other juniors there. But also, you must have felt as well. You mentioned a little earlier about the adults were looking at you and going, "Really, you got that many juniors here?" You're almost inspiring other adults clubs to go. I don't know. There must have been points whereby they go, "What are we doing wrong here that Abby's doing so well?"
Yeah, I've been asked that a few times. I think because they're like, because they want to grow the game as well, and they have tried in the past, but just throwing out another junior membership offer isn't necessarily what's going to bring people in. Like if people have never known what golf is, or a big scary looking golf club, then they're not going to just walk up to the door and say sign me up, unless they've played golf before. So I think it was the welcoming aspect, and I think they saw what we were doing was like being fruitful and that people were wanting to play, and also it helped them to see actually there is a future to our golf club, and there is a future to people who are wanting to play and like stay in the game, rather than just the aging population that we did have at the golf club, that actually it's more evened out with having more juniors come in and supporting them. So yeah.
Inspiration is a great word, isn't it? Because it can come from all sorts of different angles. You can get inspiration from a top player who inspires you to go and take up the game, but also someone like Abby, whereby someone who is inspiring other people within her own golf club to go, well, if Abby can do it, we can do it.
I've said this so many times, Steve. Sometimes you just need fresh eyes on something, don't you? Sometimes young eyes like Abby, or sometimes eyes from somebody who perhaps is a little bit out of the loop, but has a different outlook on things. And we've had this conversation about golf clubs. Oh, they've done it this way for X amount of years, so they carry on going down that route. But then somebody like Abby comes along and doesn't just does something simple, but it's just with new eyes, with fresh eyes and a bit of extra energy, and it transforms the club. And they're looking at it going, well, how come Abby can bring in all these new members, and we've been doing it this way for years? Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's absolutely spot on. Just send her an email shot out with a new offer. Well, we've been there, done that. You might pick up one or two, but it seems like getting somebody like Abby on board to come in and maybe drive it. I imagine an 8-year-old would respond very well. An 8-year-old would respond very different to Abby than they would to you and I, Steve. And if you wanted to sign an 8-year-old up to start playing golf, you probably got more chance with Abby going to get them to sign up than you or me, So, yeah, fresh eyes.
Right, now we've spoken about volunteers, obviously by definition not being paid to do the role. We will go into this. We'll ask you the same question as well. But let's go with Abi first of all. Then, what is the incentive? There's obviously no payment as an incentive. Where is the incentive for her to get involved with volunteering? That's what she had to say.
Being a volunteer, because you're not there for the paycheck. You're there to see the other people enjoy what you enjoy. So that's what drove me the most. And I think volunteering, you're going to enjoy it yourself, and if you enjoy what you're volunteering in, then it's easier to volunteer. So you don't have to be paid for it, because like your reward or your payment is the other people playing and enjoying the sport that you love to play. And I think that was the main thing for me, that actually just seeing them enjoying what I enjoyed was rewarding enough. Not some award or anything like that. Obviously it's nice, but I'm not doing it for an award or a trophy. It's for the others to participate in what I'm doing. And if someone hadn't stepped out and volunteered their time in the first place, I wouldn't have been able to play. So I think that you can't run anything without volunteers, because they're like the backbone to our sport. When you look at the numbers, there's a lot of volunteers out there, and the reason they do it is because they love it. And yeah, obviously it's nice to be paid, but actually the reward is seeing the smile on their face at the end of the session, saying they really enjoyed that and they can't wait to see you next week. So that was the reward that it gave me.
It's very interesting, actually. You may or may not be aware of this, but we've actually had your two predecessors on this podcast on previous occasions. So the two previous Volunteer of the Years, and one of them was on for a show which was about mental health in junior golf, and she said that she used golf as her opportunity to take a step away, and you use it the same way with the volunteering, to step away from your exams and use it in a positive way, whereby some people might say, well, if you're not revising for your exams, then you're not going to be able to do well in your exams, but actually you used it in a positive way.
Yeah, I definitely tried to put a positive spin on it. And I think I didn't want to sit at home. I'm not one to sit around watching TV. That's great. But for me, I like being outside, and I like enjoying people's company. And that's how I like kind of re-energize. So it was perfect for me to be able to give back into what I love and use it, in that positive way of being able to actually use these experiences that I'm gaining from it in the future. And also just as a junior, be able to get to know other people, and people in the golf club start to recognize you and know who you are because of what you're doing. And then they're also supporting you and want to play golf with you, and you make a bit more of a community aspect as well, which helped me through my exams, because it meant that they supported me when times would get tough, or you had lots of revision and it was stressful, but actually I was able to switch off and enjoy those times and do the volunteering.
Let's talk specifically then about the paid part of it then, because both of you and myself, Ian, we're both sports journalists. We both get paid for doing the sports journalism, with the exception of one thing, and that's this podcast, whereby we're not being paid for it. So where is the incentive for us whereby we don't get anything back from it? So what's your take on that?
There is.
Don't go wrong. It would be nice if we were paid for doing it, but
I always say to I've worked with people before, and people get bogged down with getting paid, and I know that sounds silly to say, but there is more than one way of getting paid. Do you know what I mean? And Abi hit on it a little bit there. For her, the reward was seeing the faces of people and her personal feeling of the get up and go do it, the drive, the coming back, feeling good about herself. That's a form of sort of payment, isn't it? I do this for a number of reasons. Mainly, we've known each other for a long time, Steve. Not mainly because I enjoy doing it. Now, I'll be brutally honest. If I didn't enjoy it, I probably would have said to you, Steve, I'm too busy, I've got other stuff on, you know, I can't keep doing this podcast now unless we find a sponsor or a backer, you know. And then it just becomes about money, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And then sort of a little bit of love goes, because then it just becomes a job. I do this for a number of reasons. Number one, it keeps me in the loop for what's going on as well, to be honest. It provides regular content on our channels. It provides good content on our channels. Keeps my relationships with a number of media outlets out there in the world of golf. And you know what? I can do it. And what I've always enjoyed in sport, and being a journalist, presenter, commentator, broadcaster, whatever, all of those many hats that I wear and have worn, is I'm providing a platform for people to do something that they love to do, right? And as you know, I'm heavily involved in motorsport. People always say, I'm not a race driver, but they always say to me, oh, Ian, we'll get you out of the car. Do you want to go racing? You know, oh, you know, you should do this race. It'd be so much fun. I've got no ambition to be a race car driver at all, right? But I get a lot of enjoyment from being in Parc Fermé and talking to the drivers when they've come off, and the first person they see is me with a camera, and we're broadcasting them live. They feel, I know it adds to their experience. It makes them feel good. It gives them a chance to get sponsors. It gives them a chance to get their name out there and continue to do something that they love. I don't want to be a race car driver, you know, but the bloke I'm interviewing does. And I've got a way that I might be able to do something that can help him. It's the same with this podcast, Steve. There's nothing about junior golf, is there, really? Every now you'll get a piece in BBC when Lottie Woe does well, but you know, she's an adult now. You know, but it's very rare. The only time you'll ever hear about anything happening in junior golf is if it's Charlie Woods. You know, that's the only time. So we are capable and we are able to have a platform. And okay, it's not the largest in the world. You know, we're not BBC, we're not Sky, we're not Fox, we're not NBC, but we're something. You know, we're there, and we can do it. And for the sake of what, an hour and a half, we've set up. You know, a bit longer for you. Why not? We can do something to make a little bit of a difference that might just help people who want to be professional golfers or on that route to try and get there.
Let's talk about success then. We'll bring Abi in here then, because when you do get involved in volunteering, and Abi has done a fantastic job, gets a lot of people going along to the things that she organises, but inevitably, because they are successful, the volunteering has to change. So this is how she explains about what she's had to deal with when it's become more successful. That's what Abi had to say.
Quite small. It was we had 8 participants on each, but the kind of drop off happens and the weather wasn't so great and things like that. But year on year we've built, so we've been doing it 4 years now. But volunteering in lots of different ways. Obviously it's not always at the golf club, but in schools as well. So, but yeah, we focus on the Girls Golf Rocks program. It's easy to say, but so we did the 8 to start with, then we increased to 12, and then we did 2 blocks. So then we had 48 and 24, and then we kind of scaled it back a little bit because then it was too many. So we did have to scale back because we had limited space and time. And yeah, things like that. But it was difficult to recruit at first, but I think once people came to one session, they then wanted to come back and help again, because it gave them like the reward of being able to see other people play. And a lot of the ladies were really keen to see the game develop. So I think it was just picking and choosing who you asked. And I think you had to be, yeah, I was quite aware of who I was asking when I asked, to try and get the best results.
Go on. Sorry, I'm going to ask a really difficult question now, so I apologise for this. But when you are doing that selection process, what are you looking out for?
People who are just keen, people who really want to, who you can tell when someone loves the game. And I think those get ladies and girls who are turning up every week. And other juniors as well. I ended up getting on board a few of our other junior girls because they also wanted people to play with and to see the junior section grow. So they wanted to play with other girls. So in order to play with other girls, they had to help us find other girls to play. So they really enjoyed doing that as well. But it doesn't mean, you don't have to commit loads and loads of time, but yeah, just the one time a week worked really well, or like one per 6 weeks. But yeah, I think it was difficult I didn't have to select people as such, because people eventually offer, kind of thing. But you do have to be aware of who you're asking and when you ask them. But yeah, I'm sure anyone else who's recruited volunteers knows all about that.
So that's Abby there, obviously, who's a junior volunteer. Actually, there's a common theme with all the interviews, all the clips that we've shown so far. Big smile on the face, isn't it, all the way through when she's talking. It's someone who you can
brilliant,
tell.
isn't she? She's absolutely brilliant, and you know what? She's absolutely spot on. There's a thing about volunteers, and it's difficult, isn't it, when she talks about recruitment, and you have to get somebody who has a certain mindset, and you can't get if you're paying somebody, right? If you're paying me, for example, Steve, if you said, right, I'm going to pay you £100 to produce this podcast for me every single week. Now, if we go out late, or we don't do it one week when we should, because we've had that a couple of times where one of us can't do it for whatever reason. But if you were paying me, you would expect, right, it's going to be that Thursday, it's going to happen that Thursday at 8:00. Now, if it doesn't happen at that time, then you can turn around and go, I'm not paying you. You know, I'll go find somebody else. I'll do anything like this. When it's volunteers, it's very difficult, isn't it? Because if they're not doing what they need to do, they're volunteering for a reason. Therefore, there's a job that needs to be done, and it needs to get done. It's important. You know, certainly with juniors, because it's a lot of safeguarding, isn't it? If a responsible adult who's been DVS checked says, I'll do it, I'll go stand at the 7th green and make sure the kids are getting through okay, because there's a road right next to it, so I'll make sure they all get over the road safely. Well, if that person, it can't be bothered after an hour, say, do you know what, I'm only volunteering, doesn't matter, I'm not going to bother, I'm just going to go. Those kids still need to get over the road. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they've got to have the mindset that if you volunteer, please take it seriously. Don't just think, well, I'm not getting paid, so I'll do whatever I want. You know, I'll volunteer, but I'm not really going to do anything. I'm just here for a bit of a jolly up. So she's right. When it comes to recruitment, you've got to get somebody who, and it's not easy, but you've got to get somebody who gets it and wants to actually volunteer, not just do it to be like, oh, it gets me at the house for a bit, but as soon as I can't be bothered, I'm just going to go home again. You know, it's like if you commit for a round of golf, you've got to commit for that round of golf and do what you said you're going to do. You know,
the perfect link, because Abby's not the only one out there, because there are plenty of other juniors out there, and I had a chat with one earlier this week as well, or actually last week as well. Louis Fitzgerald, then slightly different story, because actually his story is not necessarily to do with the golf where he does his volunteering, although he is a golfer, county golfer. Let's hear what he had to say then about what volunteering work he is doing, or is it going to be doing the next few weeks or so.
Borneo, with all like the poorer areas of the country, and helping out with the, you know, difficult things they go through that we don't really think about. And we got into it because we were doing DOV, Duke of Edinburgh, and the teachers that were going on it that year were talking to us about it. And I don't know, me and my friends, we just got really interested. So yeah, since then, that's when we were like, okay, we want to go on that when it's our chance to go.
As a youngster, as a teenager, was there any apprehension about getting involved with something like that?
Well, I think I've always liked different things. I did another volunteering thing for the trip. I did a bungee jump, so I'm always like want to do like different things, things like that. So yeah.
But having said that, Borneo is obviously, I mean, just for those who don't know, where is Borneo?
It's in Asia, South Asia.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a fair old long way to go to do a
Yeah.
volunteering trip kind of thing. I mean, it's unusual, isn't it? It has to be said.
Yeah.
So why? There must have been a lot of things which went into your head going, really, am I going to go that far to do something like this?
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of traveling and things. I want to do that when I'm older as well. So it's like my first real experience traveling alone-ish, like without my parents, and it's quite a long distance. So yeah.
So when you say you're going to be volunteering out there, what do you know at this stage what you are going to be doing?
Yeah, so we've got some ideas. We won't know like definitely till we get there, but things they've done in the past is like water storage systems, hospital camps, helping set them up and keep them running, schools helping out, and building like the basic foundations for the schools and things like that. So it's all beneficial for like the community and things. So
Well, that's
cool.
Louis there. We will move into the next clip, and we'll get your take on what he has to say first. After that, though, but that's obviously it's a golf podcast, and the story that he's doing there. He is a good golfer. He plays for his county team. So let's hear from him and find out how we got the golf industry involved in what he was trying to do as far as the volunteering is concerned. This is what he did.
and I knew that I had to do something to raise the money. And we just thought, me and my mum, we thought a golf day would be good because I'm the junior captain at the golf club. And we knew people would want to play because there's been charity events before. So, yeah.
Name the club then. I know the club, but you name the club.
Bedford and County.
Okay. And so you're organising this junior golf day then. What was the process involved with that, and how did you go about trying to get people involved?
So originally we obviously had to get the date in the diary pretty early, about a year before, just so it's definitely like set in stone. And then we started with all the posters and things. So I made them, and then one of my granddad's friends kindly printed them out for us so we can give them out. And then it was getting the prizes. And there were a lot of things people donated as well, so we could save money on that for the raffle and for the auction as well. So yeah.
And what and how much help did you have from other volunteers? This podcast is about volunteering. How much help did you have from other people on the day?
My mum helped a lot, and then my auntie and my nan helped set up when we were all playing. They helped with the raffle and things because obviously there was 88 players, so one person couldn't do it all. So yeah.
And I suppose, like I say, this podcast is about volunteering. It is you were playing on that day. You needed help, didn't you? You needed people to help out, and even though you were the one who put together the day, you needed a lot of help. And how important was it, the fact that you could rely on those? When you were, with respect, obviously you have to rely on, you have to find people who you can rely on. How easy or difficult was it to find people who you could say, right, I'm okay, they're going to be looking after that side of it?
Yeah, I think it was quite easy because my mum is really reliable, and obviously I've got GCSEs and things, so I couldn't put all my time in it. So she helped out a lot, and I knew that she would. So
now the actual day, I know what the weather was like on the day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great, was it?
No, it wasn't.
I mean, how did that affect? I mean, did it affect the day in any way? I mean, we're trying to say to people, even things which can go wrong, did it affect the day?
I don't think it affected it too much. I mean, a few groups did walk in because it was horrible. But I mean, after we all got in, I think the day was really good. Everything went pretty smoothly. So I think obviously better weather would have been nice, but yeah, ultimately I don't think it changed that much.
I mean, as I say, I don't know whether you've got a final figure. How much did you raise from the day?
We got 3,800. So yeah, it's a pretty good result.
And how much is it going to cost you to go out to Borneo then? Does that cover most of the cost?
So we had about 2,000 left. So obviously we got more than we needed. So with the remaining money, I'm going to take some of the juniors for a practice round at Tavistock at John O'Gaunt. And then some more of the money is going to be donated back to Cancer Research UK.
Good causes all the way along then, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right, just finally then, you've not gone on the trip yet to Borneo, so obviously this podcast is going to go before you actually go. Then what are your thoughts about that trip then? How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. It'll be really different to here, obviously. A lot of culture changes and foods and things like that. So yeah.
And you said you've done previous volunteering work before. You've been the club captain as well, which once again is a voluntary role as well. Is this something you'd hope to continue and do more of in the future?
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. I'm sure it'll be a good experience and everything. So, yeah.
All right, final but then, if there's someone out there who's watching you and thinking that I'd like to do this, how do they get involved with doing something like this?
I'd just say research, obviously. Find places that you can go with. I mean, we're going with Camps International, and they go to different schools and things. So obviously it was a bit easier for me. But I'm sure there's other organizations that do similar things. So.
Oh, it's just inspiration coming left, right, and centre, isn't it, Ian? I mean, Yeah, absolutely. And that's a 16-year-old lad who's just decided he's going to go out to Borneo to help the community out there, and got the golf industry involved in his passion, which is great. The fact that they all backed him as well, isn't it?
It is. Should have got his parents on to see what they think of it. I mean, obviously, I know they helped out and support, but I think his mum, when he gets on that plane, she might think, "Oh, I wish I hadn't bothered helping now." Now you go. But yeah, it is. And what a nice thing to do as well. They got too much money, so actually they're going to take the juniors to John O'Gaunt and then donate what's left. That's really, again, like Abby. This guy's just got his head switched on, isn't he? You know.
Right, let's hear more from Abby then, because I did have a chat with her about what Louis was doing, and in particular the bit whereby he tried to get the golf club involved and back his ideas. This is what she had to say about the kind of conversations that she had with the golf clubs when she was trying to discuss what she was hoping to organise.
Difficult, especially at first, but once you get in the door, then it was a lot easier. I think because I played there as a member first and then started volunteering and then gradually increasing that, and we've done like a few junior days and things like that. But it was pretty tricky to be able to, I can imagine it'd be very tricky to get fundraising alongside that, because a lot of clubs already have their set like charities that they want to commit to. So if it doesn't link up with that, it was slightly tricky. But what we've done is link it with, like, if the ladies are supporting a particular cause that's close to someone, that you do it within the ladies section, because the golf club is split into lots of sections and committees. So you have to kind of pick wisely who you want to target, whether you want to target the juniors, whether you want to target the seniors or the ladies or the men's, or a specific competition, say. So we managed to run a competition, but it's taken me 3 years to be able to get that competition in the diary. So, it takes time and it is very tricky. But I think a lot of planning and targeting the right people and audiences that helps you along the way. But yeah, it is very tricky to, especially with cost of living and things like that. People aren't just throwing money away, but yeah, I think the stereotypes of golf clubs that they have lots of money is definitely true, but they don't like to give it away that easily, so it is quite tricky. You've got to target it right.
Which is so spot on. Clever.
Absolutely, yeah. Also, there's a common theme which comes along with this podcast that we do on a regular basis, is the fact that when we get juniors on, is how they can change minds, isn't it? Because by just having that, you use the fresh ideas, that line that you said a little earlier, when you get a junior come in who can suddenly, there's golf clubs out there who could think, hold on a second here, we're being told here by a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old what to do here, but actually they're right. And giving them the voice, this is talking about volunteering, but giving them the voice to talk to clubs in a way whereby, they might not have done previously. It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I've really enjoyed listening to Abby and Louis. I know we're going to hear from Abby again, aren't we, shortly? But yeah, just cracked me up, her last little comment there. Just talking about golf clubs. It's like, yeah, they all say they ain't got any money, but they do, but you just can't get it out of them.
Yes, right. Now, you did say we're going to hear from Abby one last time. Then we asked Louis the question as well, of anyone who wants to, and advice. We normally ask all of our guests on what would their advice be. This is what Abby's advice was. If there's anyone out there who wants to volunteer at their golf club or county level or anything like that, this is what Abby had to say about that.
You play at a golf club where you're a member that's affiliated with England Golf, it's a lot easier. And especially if you only want to volunteer on like a short term. But if you get in touch on the England Golf website, I think there's a link to Volunteer Hub, and they've got a Facebook page as well, which links a lot of the volunteers. So if you've got questions and you're a volunteer already, then you can ask them on there. But if you want to become a volunteer, probably the first place is to ask your club as to what they need. A lot of places need new junior organisers. And it's not always a one-man person to do the job. They always want support or someone to take a junior to a match somewhere or things like that. There's simple things that you can do. But obviously there is DBSs and things when you're working with juniors is the tricky one. But you can always volunteer your time in the golf club, whether it's just walking some juniors or meeting and greeting at the door on a Sunday or on the tee sheet and things like that. It depends on what kind of area, but if you wanted to go to coaching like I've done, definitely recommend getting in touch with England Golf on their volunteer hub page, or contact your local England Golf Northwest or whatever region you're in. They'll let you know where to go and what to do next. But yeah.
Could I just say as well, Steve, before you do go in and volunteer, everybody, make sure you don't end up, if you give a golf club a chance, you'll end up manning the club shop for 8 hours for free. So just watch yourself.
Yes. So obviously that's Abi Frodsham, who's the England Golf Volunteer of the Year award, and before that was Louis Fitzgerald as well. What we also have to mention as well is that we did say myself and Ian are both volunteers on the show. Every single person that's ever come on this show has done it voluntarily. So we have to say as well, thank you to all those guests who've come on. You know, we've had some big names on this show, haven't we? We've had Charlie Hull, we've had Georgia Hall, we've had Megan McLaren right the way at the start.
Andrew Strauss,
Stephen Gallagher. You know, we've had some big names on the show.
Should make a list of all the lesser names.
Absolutely, but some lesser names as well. Some people who help out their golf clubs. Some people who So therefore, there's people out there who are happy, willing, and able to give the time back to volunteer to help out with junior golf. And I would urge any golf club, any golf county, any golf organisation to embrace that and to in the nicest possible way, I'll use it inverted commas, to use those people because they're willing and happy and able to. They want to help out this junior golf. So let them and give them the opportunity to do so because they're massive. It's a huge help to every single part of the golf industry, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. All sport, just anything in general. Just make sure it doesn't end up just being free labour. If you're going to volunteer, you're there for a particular reason. And if you are going to volunteer as well, please, you don't need me to tell you, but do take it seriously because it is critical. If you've been asked to volunteer for something, it's because something needs doing. So please do take it seriously. Don't just think, well, I'm not getting paid, so I can't really I'll leave halfway through if I want to leave. If you commit, you commit. So yeah, good stuff. Can I just say as well, Steve, we said at the top of the show, we now explained how people can get in touch, etc., etc. I did also say make sure you do go visit Steve's website, progressjuniorgolf.com. Now would be a good time to go do that because we've reached the end of the show. So I did say don't click that link until after we're about to go. So if you want to go visit Steve's website, do it in about a minute and a half.
Yes. Just a very quick mention then for podcasts we've got coming up then. Not sure the exact order, but we're going to be looking at things like junior golf clothing, sponsorship, academies, caddying. We may well have, fingers crossed, touch wood, we may well have a top caddy coming on the show, someone who is caddied at the highest level. We're talking Ryder Cup caddy here. We're talking someone who's caddied major championships across the world. Hold fire on that, and we'll be talking about junior, and also someone who's got a child who's a junior golfer as well. So someone who has to look at it from a different point of view. So it'll be fascinating if we can get that person on and do that. But we've got other ones as well. We're going to do a rules quiz as well because we love doing a rules quiz. So we're going to do that one as well. So yeah, right. That wraps up this evening then. So thanks so much to Abi, to Louis, to Ian, the best volunteer on the Progress Junior Golf podcast.
Second best volunteer on the Progress Junior Golf podcast. Second best volunteer, Steve. That's honour. The honour is you.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'll take it. I'll take that reward. That can be my Progress Junior Golf Volunteer of the Year award.
Yeah.
Tonight.
I'll get you a little trophy.
Absolutely right. All right, look, thanks very much for everyone for watching. We shall catch up with you soon and have a good evening.
Take care, everybody. Ciao, ciao.